Hey, it's Andrew, and the time has come. Let's talk about the Legion Go S SteamOS edition. This thing has been a long time coming, and it's the first product to bring Valve's SteamOS to the masses through a mainstreamly available product that you can buy in stores. So let's get into it. And hey, I'm on my journey to 10,000 subscribers, and I want you to be a part of that with me, so go ahead and subscribe. So the Legion Go S this time around is mostly physically the same product to the Windows edition that came out a couple months ago. The main big difference is the color. This is Nebula. It's a beautiful navy purple color, and I'm actually in love with it. The other two differences is that we now have a Steam button and a 3-dot contextual menu button that have printed accents. So we have a Steam logo on the front, which is pretty cool. Besides that, it's all the same great stuff. You got the same great buttons, same great speakers, same great trigger stops, which I still really enjoy, and that same fantastic tall 1080p 120 hertz display. And I really like this display. It's not an OLED, and I love OLEDs, but this thing is really beautiful. It's bright. The pixels per inch being 1080p at this 7 to 8 inch size is fantastic, and it's incredibly smooth. And with those variables, I think that it kind of outshines the Steam Deck OLED's display, and we will talk comparisons later. This model has the Z2 Go chip inside of it. Originally, I was going to do a review with the Z1 Extreme version, but it got delayed another month. That thing will have some serious power in it and be able to do 1080 120 in some more demanding games, so that'll be really exciting. The Z2 Go chip is a lot more akin to the original Steam Deck chip, and it's doing 30 to 40 frames in a lot of games just like the Steam Deck did. The only big difference though is that this is doing those frames in 1080p instead of the 800p we saw on the Steam Deck, so you do have higher resolution with about the same performance. And this actually carries the Legion Go S really well because this display is big, beautiful, and incredibly immersive for a handheld. The big question though is about how SteamOS is implemented onto this system. And SteamOS does feel good. It's not seamlessly perfect like it is on the Steam Deck, and it has a couple jagged edges, but I personally suspect those things to get very quickly ironed out since Valve is working with Lenovo on this product, and they will update these things to make it work properly. I've had weird issues mainly with installing games where I've had to use the touchscreen because buttons just won't work to install games. Like I'll press A on install and it'll make the little animation prompt that I've pressed it, but it won't install until I tap it, which is really odd. And swapping between tabs in my game library can be a little weird or jittery. These are all really simple, odd things that I fully suspect to be fixed pretty quickly. Hey, really quick. So this is the BenQ GR10 handheld gaming dock. A USB 4 gaming mobile dock made by BenQ. I'm able to get 4K HDR and incredibly fast response times when using my Steam Deck or other handheld devices. Underneath the dock is a cable management design slot for the USB-C cable that goes into your gaming device. This USB-C cable has a 2-in-1 detachable design that allows you to plug in the USB-C cable at a 90-degree angle or just normal. This dock has a pretty slick magnetic folding design where you dock the Steam Deck or, again, any gaming handheld you might have. Setup is straightforward as well. Power up the dock, dock your deck, plug in an HDMI 2.1 cable from the dock to your display, and you're done. The dock allows you to have 4K HDR at 120 Hz, high-speed data transfers with USB 4 technology, and a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port for high-speed downloads. Comes with 6 ports total, 2 USB-C, 2 USB-A, and an HDMI 2.1 with a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port. Personally, I've been enjoying this dock. It is quite better than the original Steam Deck dock that you could get along with your purchase of the Steam Deck. Its performance is better. It also is really useful as a USB 4 dock because I can throw it in a bag and use it with a laptop for high-speed performance when I'm doing anything I might need. Special thanks to BenQ for sending this guy out. There's an affiliate link in the description if you guys would like to check it out and maybe purchase it for yourself. Back to the video. Something really interesting to note that I saw pretty quickly is in your game library, traditionally, there was a tab that said Steam Deck compatible games. That tab has been switched to SteamOS compatible games. Originally, games were verified or, had a asterisk on them in Steam for whether they would work on the Steam Deck because the Steam Deck was obviously an enclosed part of Valve in Steam. So they could verify those things very specifically. And I found that not having that verification made choosing games a little little bit odd. It was really reliable on the Steam Deck when there was a big green check mark. You knew that game was going to work perfectly. You would boot it up, the controls would be set up, and the resolution would be proper, and you would get reliable frames. That being said, though, I don't know any games that are on SteamOS that wouldn't work on the Steam Deck, because traditionally, the only way to play games on SteamOS was on a Steam Deck. But with the Z1E version coming out here in a month, and a public release of SteamOS coming to PCs, coming to SteamOS, or maybe Valve makes some sort of tier of verification, like low-end chips, medium-end chips, and the high-end stuff. Because as of now, the chips you see in the Steam Deck, the Z2 Go you see in a couple different handhelds, are all mostly the same and can run about the same games. Z1 Extreme might be able to pump out games that we're not seeing available on things like the Steam Deck and the Z2 Go version of the Legion Go S. Playing games on here, though, feels just as seamless as playing games on the Steam Deck itself. Playing games on here feels a lot more immersive than they do on the Steam Deck, though. I find myself playing a lot of first-person games lately, and with the I know it seems kind of odd, but how tall this display is versus the Steam Deck really switches up how immersive it can be. Because when you're sitting there with your deck in your hands, it's big, it's bright, it's beautiful, and the Legion Go S really, really shines. And it really allows you to play hard. The controls are quick, there's no delay, and I've been having a blast. That being said, I want to talk about where the Steam Deck and the Legion Go S SteamOS edition, just such a mouthful, I hate that, but where they really stand apart, because the Legion Go S feels a lot more streamlined to be more of a console gaming experience. The Steam Deck felt like a great handheld console gaming device, but it also felt like a niche hobbyist device. With the focus on modability and the deeply customizable control scheme, it just felt so big and creative. You could do so much weird stuff with it. My girlfriend plays The Sims 4 a ton, and going through options to play The Sims 4 on the Steam Deck that weren't just the traditional controller option was crazy. The amount of creativity people have used with gyro controls and the touchpads and all kinds of weird stuff is awesome. And you don't really see that on the Legion Go S as much because it doesn't have the depth of control systems that you see on the Steam Deck. And as far as I'm aware, you can still use things like EmuDeck and Decky on the Legion Go S with some updates coming out, but you just don't have the depth of creativity that you do with the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck feels very open-ended and made for enthusiasts. The Legion Go S feels a lot more like a Xbox controller with a display attached, which is still a great experience if you just want to play games. And there is still the tiny little touch pad on the Legion Go S. I've tried to use it more, and it feels mostly the same as it did on the Windows device, which if you haven't seen that video, go check it out, by the way. But it's just not great. I wouldn't use it personally. Either make it bigger or take it away, honestly. I don't think it's great. The Steam Deck trackpads are vastly superior, and I don't think we've seen anything up to that quality out of any handhelds that I've seen. And with less controls and less options of customizability for how you input things into a game, the Legion Go S definitely falls behind the Deck. This thing is a solid buy, though. At $599 and being able to just walk into a Best Buy and buy it, it's really just aiming at people who want to be able to play games on PC, and it's really good at it. And somebody who's just getting a Christmas gift or just window shopping, finding themselves purchasing it, is going to be playing PC games in no time and having a good, fun time. And what's really interesting is with the Switch 2 release recently, which I have a video coming on about that very soon, it's interesting to me how bad console gaming has become recently. You were just charged out the ass for games, and then you're charged even more to play them online or play an upgraded version of them. I spent $70 on Tears of the Kingdom a couple years ago, and now I had to spend more money I had to spend money for a subscription service just to play it with decent frames in a better resolution. It's constant fees and pay gates for features that you should just have accessibility to. And I know online services have always been a subscription service for consoles, but with the accessibility of PC gaming now, it seems ridiculous to pay to play a game online. Cyberpunk just launched on the Switch 2 for $70. It's a game that's getting a little bit old now. Pretty sure I picked it up on Steam a couple months ago for like $15 on sale, and that's great. And I can play it on the Legion Go S or my Steam Deck at pretty much the exact same fidelity as I can on the Switch 2, and with better input latency. By buying one of these at Best Buy, instead of buying a Switch 2 for pretty much the same price, you get to avoid subscriptions, games are cheaper, and it's widely the exact same handheld experience, if not better. Because honestly, the Joy-Con sticks are still pretty small. They're better than the old one, but I mean, the Legion Go S has better controls. Multiplayer is free, and you don't have a manufacturer constantly trying to rip money out of you. And man, games being cheaper really shows through on Steam now, because if I go to the eShop, everything's $70 or $80. I pull open the Steam homepage and there's a ton of games I might want to play for pretty cheap. This is just a great way to play games, and the Legion Go S with SteamOS is honestly fantastic. SteamOS at this point is really the undisputed king of handheld PC gaming, and if you really think it's Windows, then you're just kind of wrong. But there's a video coming out soon too. There is some news that might change that. SteamOS is about to have some serious competition. But as of now, Windows doesn't even slightly compare to how user-friendly SteamOS is, and even though we still use it on things like the Ally X to play Destiny and other games that haven't found their way to SteamOS yet, it's still just not as good as the user experience is on SteamOS. Because, you know, Windows, not to say it's just objectively bad, but it's objectively bad if you don't have a mouse and keyboard plugged in. But hey, what are your thoughts? Comment below. If you don't have anything to say, consider dropping your favorite emoji in the comments. Always helps with the engagement of the video. And please do subscribe. Like I said earlier, I am on the road to 10K subs, and I really want you guys to be a part of that with me. And hey, thank you so much for watching. Peace.